Hi guys, and welcome to VR log number 6, and in this video I'm going to talk about a game called The Unspoken, where you get to play a powerful wizard who battles other powerful wizards in a kind of arena battle. Now the footage you're seeing is not actually the stuff I recorded, it's from the trailers, and I'm hoping this is covered under fair use. And the reason I'm doing this is basically I wanted to give a good impression of this game, and the footage I recorded probably wouldn't. I was looking at the footage I made and it made me nauseous, and that really isn't fair to the game because I felt no nausea when actually playing the game. In fact, I played for well over an hour and was completely comfortable the entire time. It was so much fun. I was massively immersed, and no nausea, no discomfort, no tiredness whatsoever, so I thought it was pretty unfair to show the footage that probably made it feel like it should have been. This is a problem with trying to spectate, to stream or to record games in VR. Until game developers start to create a kind of chase camera spectator mode where you can actually stream a more steady view of what is going on, VR footage is kind of hard to watch. It's really shaky because of course you, the person, are moving constantly, and that is just something that is really hard to watch. It's like having a camera strapped to the side of your head. If you walk around, people viewing the footage afterwards are going to feel sick. But please just believe me, when I was inside the game, that's how it felt. When I was playing that game, I felt no nausea. It was just so comfortable. Now, my first thought when I got this game, which I got free with the Oculus controllers, was that it was going to be more of a tech demo. But in actual fact, it really is a fully fledged game. There is a story, although I don't think it's that important. But the basic premise is you are going to go into lots of battles, get more and more powerful, unlock more spells, and fight even more powerful opponents. It is a game where you play against other players, although I've not tried that yet. I've barely scratched the surface, I'm just doing the tutorials. I mean, it really is something like Mortal Kombat with spells. You're going into battle and beat your opponent. You cast all of the spells with gestures using the controllers, various different grips, various different arm movements, and it's all very instinctive. Well, mostly. It takes a little getting used to the throwing action at first because it's not quite natural. When you throw something, when you finish the throw, you release your grip. Obviously with an Oculus Touch controller you can't do that, or you'll be throwing the Oculus controller away. And I mean, it has a little loop around your wrist so you won't lose it, but it'll now be dangling from your arm rather than in your hand. So you have to get used to gripping it with the two smaller fingers and releasing the grip finger only. So you feel a little strange. It's like you've got 3 fingers open rather than your entire hand, and that is a little... It's not instinctive. But everything else was pretty much, it felt very, very natural. I think the only way it could feel more natural is if you, instead of using controllers, used kind of VR gloves that quite literally detected where your fingers were, and you did that instead. But the only one I know of at the moment uses a camera on the front of the Oculus, or on the front of the VR, and it sees your hands. The problem with that is half the time you're playing this game, your hands are behind you as you hold your arm up behind you, getting the spell ready, and then you throw it from over your shoulder. So that wouldn't necessarily work. You do play this game standing, or at least you should, otherwise you're going to be smacking things around on your desk as you wave your arms around like a madman. You stand a little away from the desk. You can move around a little bit. Basically, you're fighting on these little podiums, these little columns, and you can move around a little bit, but if you want to go from one column to the next, you sort of point at it, you gesture at it, and teleport to it. This is how they avoid the whole nausea problem. And this, I think, is going to be a big thing in VR games. Ways to get around the innate nausea you get between, well, when you move in game, but you can't feel yourself moving in reality. Obviously, there are going to be some other ways around this, like treadmills and that sort of thing. But for this type of game, this works perfectly. You've got these little points you can fight from, and you just keep zipping between them, and it makes the game quite tactical as well. It's not just about your reactions and blocking spells and throwing fireballs. You need to position yourself well, because some of the podiums are out of sight of your current opponent's position, and he then has to shift. Now you can set up all sorts of things in motion, and it really does function very well to allow you a feeling of moving, of positioning yourself without any feeling of nausea. There is a very cool kind of home base area, your apartment, where you can check out the spells you've unlocked, the artifacts you've unlocked, and even classes. I've not really got very far with that at the moment, so I'm excited to see what I can unlock and what new abilities I get. There's a great kind of map system where you pick where you're going to fight, and it's all very cool, which is pretty standard in VR. Cool is kind of its thing. But unlike a game like Lucky's Tale, where you kind of feel like the VR element is, well, it's just a kind of nice addition, a bit of a gimmick perhaps, a cool one, but nevertheless not really essential. In this game, the VR experience is the reason you're playing this game. It changes things. It makes it a very, very different experience. You'll spend a lot of time quickly turning around, looking from one podium to the next, trying to find your enemy, and it really does, well, it doesn't just add to the experience, it is the experience. And I think that's going to be important for virtual reality in general. Having games where it doesn't just add to the experience, it actually adds to the gameplay. It makes a big difference. Either the gameplay pretty much relies on the virtual reality, or it somehow is enhanced by it. For example, in Elite, I feel the VR actually helps. Once you get used to it, once you can get past the feelings of nausea, having VR isn't just a cool thing, it really does make the whole process a lot easier. It gives you certain advantages that you won't get out of VR. Well, this is a game where the entire game kind of revolves around VR, and I think this is a good development. But one thing that surprised me a little bit, one thing I didn't think about, and I probably should, was how I felt after an hour or so of play. Ordinarily, when I play a VR game, I come away feeling a little tired in the head and the eyes, and I feel nauseous. With this game, not only did I not feel tired in the head or eyes, not only did I not feel remotely nauseous, I actually felt like I'd been exercising for an hour. Not strenuous exercise, but kind of like you'd been shadow boxing or something, or dancing around your room for an hour. My arms and shoulders really did feel it. I'd been moving my arms in fairly unusual ways I don't normally do. Believe it or not, I don't ordinarily stand in my room pretending to cast spells, and it's a different kind of exercise to the ones I'm used to, and I could actually feel it, and it felt pretty good. I also felt really relaxed in the back and torso. Now, I have an injured back. It's permanent, there's nothing I can do about it, so I do tend to have to get up out of my chair every sort of 45 minutes to an hour and do some stretching and some light exercise to really loosen it up. With this game, that is not a problem. I could play this game for 3 or 4 hours and come away being slightly out of breath maybe, but totally comfortable. And that I was actually not out of breath, but I felt like I'd been walking for an hour. You know, that's the sort of feeling I had. So this is a computer game that is actually activating my body. It was fun, and it was a minor relaxing form of exercise, which I think could become an important thing in VR games. Overall, I was really impressed with this brief encounter I've had with this game. I mean, don't take this as a full review and me saying you should buy this game. For all I know, I might play it for another hour and think it's a terrible game. But at the moment, it's the first VR game I've played beyond Elite Dangerous that's made me want to go back. And I do. I want to go back. As soon as I get some time, I really want to get back in there and try a few new things. Maybe even try fighting someone else, although I suspect I'm going to get utterly crushed because there's a lot going on when you play this game. It can get quite distracting. It really is. You know, it's not the sort of game I'd ever play whilst doing a Let's Play or even a stream. Any amount of talking is going to get you killed. You've got to concentrate. You've got to concentrate in that. And that's even against the AI opponents. I suspect real-life opponents will require 110% concentration. So this is the first game that's really excited me and made me want to do more VR gaming since Elite Dangerous. Now, Elite Dangerous did make me want to play in VR way more. I mean, it's night and day experience. It's absolutely incredible, but it did have minor nausea. Not major. It wasn't like when I played Minecraft in VR and wanted to throw up within seconds. But after half an hour of playing in VR with Elite, I did feel it, and it would stay with me for the rest of the day. This game, nothing, no problems whatsoever. So I'm looking forward to testing out a few other games that use similar principles. There is a horror game that I've had for a while called I can't remember. I will try and remember. But it's a sort of a horror mystery game, and there's two ways of playing it. You can play it by moving, and there's an actual simulated moving which can make you feel nauseous, or there is this kind of you look at an area and you blink and you appear there. It's not like a teleport, but like time has passed and you walk there, and apparently that is a completely comfortable way to play the game. I don't know how well that would work for recording though, seeing as you won't get the sensation of movement. That's probably better for the person playing but not watching. Movement might be better for people watching. I may try a few other games like that and see how they go. I believe there's also a puzzle game I've got that uses, again, a similar sort of teleport concept to play. So keep your eyes open for videos on that. I don't think I've got anything else to say other than, you know, generally speaking, pretty impressed with this. So, thank you for listening, and I will speak to you guys next time.